we added some bone spurs. Now, once again, I'm not going to go and say how this happens in everyone, but it's usually from pounding surfaces like running and walking and jogging or anything like that. It's usually from footwear that doesn't fit correctly or footwear that's actually worn out. It usually happens from standing on hard surfaces all the time. It can happen from, if you look at your foot, this is the arch of your foot, the medial part, from overpronating when the arch collapses. It can actually happen from wearing footwear like such as, we'll use Birkenstocks for a reason, that have like a hard arch support. That'll actually make your arch very lazy if you wear them all the time. It can happen from pelvic distortions, like your pelvis dropping anteriorly, like a pitcher of water going like that, or a torsion on one side. It can happen from sacral issues, issues in the knees. It can happen from hypomobility in the joints, specific joints of the ankle, and the talus, the talar joints, on and on and on. So it could be ligamentous from the hips, knee, ankle. It could be joint restrictions from the hip, knee, ankle. It could be fascia restrictions down the entire kinetic chain on that specific side. So it could be many different things, but the key is to figure out why you have it. And see a Czech practitioner in your area. Go to CzechConnect.com. Give us a call, and maybe we can help you find someone. See an osteopath in the area. See a chiropractor, a neuromuscular therapist, an active release technique. Everyone's going to give you their spin on it. Most people treat the actual sign, or I should say the actual area, like the foot. So let's get into that. If you look at the little diagram at the beginning of the clip, you can actually see the foot. And you'll see that, let's say the foot's like this. This is the back of the foot, the calcaneus. You have muscle, and then the fascia actually, or tendon, turns into fascia and connects to the calcaneus. That wraps around the calcaneus, and a tendon, which is Achilles tendon, attaches to the soleus and gastrocnemius. The gastrocnemius actually attaches across the knee like this, and the biceps femoris come down like that, and the hamstrings attach across the knee, attached to the gastrocnemius. So you have this whole connection up the backside of the leg. The hamstrings, which the biceps femoris, attach to the sacrum, all the way up the back, on and on and on. So we have this huge connection. So that's why I'm saying there could be issues from the hips all the way down that could be causing a problem or a fascia restriction. But the bottom line is, anytime that muscle or fascia gets really taut, this is the calcaneus, it pulls the tendon and fascia away from the bone. And you get this little space, so it starts to bow, and you get this little space here between the fascia and the tendon. What happens is that area is filled by a lot of fibroblasts and osteoblasts. Those things build tissue and build bone. So what happens is that pulling away of tissue, just like shin splints, that pulling away of the tissue and that repetitive pounding or repetitive pronation of the foot causes inflammation. That's a sign to your body that if you don't take care of that in a certain amount of time, you're actually going to develop a bone spur. And like I said, there's a lot of people that localize it with soft tissue and fascial techniques at the bottom of the foot. A lot of people say sit down and you can rub a golf ball on it. A lot of people say that you need to release, the soleus, the gastroc, the posterior tibia, the Achilles tendon. A lot of people say you actually need to mobilize the different joints in the ankle, because of hypomobility. Because when this happens, what do you call it? I'm drawing a blank right now. The joint of the ankle, the center joint there, I'm completely drawing a blank, actually gets pulled backwards towards the calcaneus. So there's a lot of things that can happen, and same thing in the knee. There's certain ligamentous things that can happen that can create that. So it's really figuring out why. But the bottom line is, the golf ball, the ice, the little fascia to the bottom of the foot, that's a temporary relief, but it does help. The bottom line is inflammation. We have to figure out where it's coming from, and that's where your practitioner comes in. But I want to educate you what's going on. So the fascia gets pulled back, and we have these fibroblasts, which fill it with collagen and soft tissue adhesions. That's why you get this inflammation, and people might have to work it out. But at the same time, if you don't take care of it over time, you can actually develop a bone spur. Bones remodel along the lines of stress, just like soft tissue was. So when there's pounding, or when we're growing and walking, that's how we actually develop bone. It's a piezoelectric charge. That pounding or pressure creates a piezo pressure electric charge in the bone, which stimulates osteoblasts and osteoclasts to actually break down bone and build new bone. So when this happens, when this pulling away, and you keep walking, you keep overpronating, you keep running, there's that space, and the osteoblasts go, hey, there's a space here, I need to fill it in. So they actually start growing bone and remodeling it along the lines of stress to protect the area. So that's how you develop a bone spur, because it wants to protect that area. So it starts building up bone. The problem is if you develop that, you really can't break it down. It's there, and it's going to cause more pain and more pain and more pain. Same thing like when you develop a dowager's hump in the back of the neck. You see people with that like big soft tissue bump around C7, T1. It's because the muscles are so lengthened from forward head posture that all those long cervical extensors are trying to hold on for dear life. And what happens is as the head goes forward, the head is 8% of your body weight, the muscles lengthen and they start to tear. The fascia starts to tear, just like a stretch, just like a trash bag. You pull a trash bag and you see it stretch but doesn't go back. So fascia is very plastic in a sense, and it doesn't go back. So what happens is the body says, hey, I need to lay down soft tissue or adhesions to actually strengthen the area, and that's where the fibroblasts come in. Because of that piezoelectric charge of that tension, it remodels along the lines of stress. So anywhere there's stress, the body wants to build things up to actually protect the area. That's why we say people with osteoporosis should work out, because that extra weight creates a piezoelectric charge in the bone and causes the osteoblast to actually lay down new bone. So, kind of went all over the place today, but hopefully you've got the understanding of why we can develop plantar fasciitis and how you can develop a bone spur, as well as how you can actually develop soft tissue adhesions and lengthen muscles. You don't always want to release those adhesions. The key with this is finding out where it's coming from. Why do you have the plantar fasciitis? Are you overpronating? Is it just a pelvic issue? Is it weak glutes and hamstrings? Is it a fascia restriction? On and on and on. That's some things you need to figure out. I can tell you that working with people with plantar fasciitis, 9.9% of the time, it's usually with runners. It usually happens from overpronating. It usually happens from a weak glute complex, a weak pelvic floor. And a lot of times when the pelvic drops, that causes the knees to kind of adduct and roll in, which causes that pronation in the foot. So they're running and always pounding. At the same time, I found that releasing specific compartments in the knee, different fascial chains in the knee and the calf complex and the Achilles complex, that actually eliminates the plantar fasciitis in the foot, such as soft tissue work to the gastrocsoleus, posterior tib, and other fascial chains within the knee and the hamstrings and the calf complex. Doing the fascia work to the bottom of the foot, the golf ball, the little ice, or if you're into Chinese medicine, the moxa for heat, that helps as well. It's very localized treatment. It's not going to get rid of it. You have to fix the problem. Where's it coming from? So, kind of rambled all over the place. I'm feeling good today. Got a lot of clients coming in, and I want to get this out. So hopefully you've learned something. Really bummed the Celtics lost. They're winning the whole game. I feel like they outplayed the Lakers, but it's only a game. Congratulations to the Lakers. Wish the Celtics won, but what are you going to do? So check out our website at eastwesthealing.com. Don't forget to Facebook us on our website. Check out our blog, YouTube page, Blog Talk, on and on. Peace.